Hey everybody. You know I told you I was going to go squatching in all 5 states from Texas up to South Dakota. Well, if you've ever been through Kansas and Nebraska, you'll find out that there's not much going on in either one of those states. At least the way I went. But I went to Hastings, Nebraska to a Bigfoot museum, and that's what this video is about. Stay tuned.
Okay, well, that's how we start, is the Bigfoot guys. And my name is Harriet McFeely. Most of the people call me the Bigfoot lady here. And the official title of our place is the Bigfoot Crossroads of America Museum and Research Center. We also do conferences here. This coming year will be the first ever for an international Bigfoot conference. We'll be here in Nebraska. So, okay.
And this is Hastings.
This is Hastings, Nebraska, right in the center of the state. We're only 14 miles off of the interstate, so we're easy to get to.
No, I don't think so. We can't.
Not so much.
We have another building she said we can check out.
Oh, cool.
But see, here's the thing. I have to tell you this story. Or that one will
Okay, okay.
Okay. Now, you can see. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, let me see.
Okay, this is one of my favorite exhibits here. This is, to me, it was new a couple years ago, but it's not new. And what they think is that the Bigfoot are braiding the manes of the horses. And so this is my friend Don Monroe. He is 84 years old now. He has spent over 40 years researching the horses and the braided manes. And so it's so interesting with him because after 40 years he has a picture of a horse from every single state in the United States that was braided except for Hawaii. And he has lots and lots and lots of pieces of hair that's also braided. And so I just wanted to show you, this is a very significant braid right here. An Indian man, a Native American, told me this, and he said to them, this is the most significant braid in the entire museum, which I didn't know that. And he said to the Native Americans, if you look at this piece that runs right through the center, that symbolizes God. And he said, then if you look on this side, this symbolizes a man, and this is a woman. And it says in the Bible that when 3 strands are braided together, 3 are stronger than 1, which is true. And so after he told me that, I thought, I never even thought of that. Nobody ever told me that before. So I went back and looked, and if you look on this braid, there's a single strand right through the center. And there's also 1 on each side. Then if you look here, there's another single one right through the center. And if you go over here, this is a little tiny one. And it's right through the center again. And so after he told me that, now, I thought, I've been in this room 500 times. I've talked about all these braids, and I missed it every single time because nobody ever told me. So then our good friend Igor Burtsev, who is a partner in this museum, and we're members of his group in Russia now, he in 1965 found horses that were braided in Siberia. So here is a picture right there of Igor in Siberia, braided horses, and this one down here is Russia, braided horses. So anyway, at the same time, Don Monroe was investigating all across the United States, and Igor was going Russia and Siberia and all of those countries. And we just had our conference here about a month ago, and as it turned out, Don came from Montana, and Igor came from Moscow, and they'd heard about each other, 10 years ago or longer, I don't know, but they'd never met. So they met here, and they were talking, 190 miles an hour. They had a blast. They were here for 2 weeks, staying with me. And the interesting part about that is the braids in Russia and Siberia are exactly like the braids here. There's no difference. And so then, about a month ago, I got this picture. 2 horses that are obviously braided. This one, you can see the braids really well on her mane. This one you can't see so well because his neck is the same color as his mane. It's harder to see. But this is from Australia. So see? Braided horses there. And it's the same. It's exactly the same. So then these pictures here are all from an Indian reservation a couple 100 miles north of here in South Dakota. And the family has lived there for over 75 years, the lady told me. And she said in that time, every now and then, you don't know when, all of a sudden, horse shows up and it's braided. And with their horses, they breed them, they break them and train them. She said they usually have the horses about 3 or 4 years, and then they sell them. The whole family, that's what they do. But this whole 75 years, they have had horses that show up that are braided. There's some of the pictures of them.
I noticed those earlier.
Right there. And then you go back to Nebraska again. This picture here is from Macy, Nebraska. That's the Indian.
This is the Bigfoot Museum in Hastings, Nebraska. That's a picture of Mrs. McFeety with Bob Gimlin. Awesome. Bigfoot Conference, April 29th to the 30th. A walk on the weird side in Nebraska. And what would a museum be without Bigfoot? I appreciate you letting me video in here.
Oh, it's okay. Don't mind it all.
And you've been doing this for 3 years now, right?
Just the museum. I've been doing it since I was 8 years old. That's when I started collecting. Oh.
About the
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Oh, yes. So this horse is from Macy, Nebraska, which is straight north of Omaha on the Missouri River. It's a Indian reservation there, Native American. And this horse is really weird because most of the horses that are braided are females. lots of times they're pintos, but not always. And it's their mane that's braided. Well, this guy is really weird because his tail is braided and it's a male. So I have no idea what that means. He's the weird guy out. And then this one, this is Snap. She, the man has had her for about 9 years. She lives not too far from Lincoln, kind of in the eastern part of the state. And same thing, she comes in about every so often, and her mane is braided. But like I said earlier, they always say the Bigfoot follow the rivers, and I know that's true. I know it. And if you look at Snap's picture, here's her pasture. It's really nice and green. And see the trees behind? Guess what? Platte River. That's how close she is. So I believe it. That's all.
Yeah.
And then now, since then, I have heard of stories that people that have farms, they have a barn or a machine shed or something like that. Now they are going out in the barns and they are braiding their ropes. I don't know what that means, but all of these pictures are different ropes and bridles and reins and all kinds of stuff that's been braided. And this one, they not only braided it around in the barn, but they had some deer antlers there. And so they worked the antlers into the braid, so it's really ornate. And this one, they braided, it was a martingale, and lots from Texas now, you should know what a martingale is. A martingale is on a horse when they have the saddle and bridle on. The martingale is usually a couple inches wide and it's hand tooled and it goes around their chest like this on the front. And so anyway, there was nails or something on the wall and they braided all around that and then they braided through the martingale. So with their braids and everything, to me, they are really, really artistic. They do. A lot of, and I can guarantee you, I sat here, right here, with a chair for over 2 hours trying to braid like they do, and I can guarantee you, you cannot do it. And so Don says we should give $100 reward. If anybody can braid like a Bigfoot, they get it. But I have to borrow. It's so weird that it's hard to believe it's true. So I had, it happened 1 year ago on Memorial Day weekend. It happened on the day before Memorial Day, on that Sunday. But on June 12th, I had 3 ladies that came here to go through the museum. And I always like to say to people, first of all, where are you from? That's the first thing. And second thing, I like to say, do you ever hear anything weird? Or do you ever see anything weird? And most people go, nope, I can't think of anything. So that's okay, I understand that. And so I said that to these 3 ladies, and they all said, no, I can't think of anything. So that was okay. And so they walked through the museum, just like you did, all the rooms. Over here, I showed them the braided horses, and they came back, and then we have another little museum next door. And so they went over there and looked around. And they were ready to leave then. And I just happened to look out my door here, and the one lady was standing on the driveway, kind of down a ways by her car. And she was just standing there like that. And I thought, I was hoping she wasn't sick or, something was wrong. But anyway, then I came back in here and just like that, about a minute later, she came in and we were standing right by my guest book. And she said to me, remember when you asked me if I ever saw anything weird? I said, yeah. She said, and do you remember when you asked me if I ever heard anything weird? And I said, yep. She said, I have a story to tell you. And she said, I don't know if it's weird like you like weird. But anyway, I have a story. And I said to her, trust me, I love weird. It just, I don't really have a certain category for weird. So anyway, this is the story that she told me. And like I said, it happened on the day before Memorial Day, last year, 2020. When she came here, it was June 12th, so it was roughly 2 weeks after this happening. And so here's the story. She lives in a little tiny town called Garrison, Nebraska, which I have never heard of in my entire life. And I found out the reason why is there's only 54 people in the whole town. And so anyway, Garrison is kind of in the eastern part of the state, not too far from Lincoln. That's our state capital. So anyway, that's a little bit. And she said, I'll tell you a little bit about the town so you will understand the story more. So that was fine. Garrison is a small town. As I said, there's only 54 people there. Everything in the town is closed up except for the little blue bar that's open. And it's not a crummy bar. It's like you could take your kids there for, everybody goes there for hamburgers after the football game, things like that. It's not bad. So anyway, if you would picture the town, it's kind of an oblong like this. And right here is where the little blue bar is. And she said that the people in that town are really, really patriotic, very patriotic, because almost every single man that lives there has been in the Army or Navy or one of those groups, or the Guards. So they're patriotic. So, on the east side of the town, there is a road that goes along, and about a half a mile, it would be south of the town, is the little cemetery for Garrison. And if you go on that same road north, 5 miles, you will come to David City. And that is the county seat there. And since everything is closed up in Garrison, that's where the kids go to school. And a lot of people here are Catholic, and so they go to David City to Mass on Sundays. So that's a little bit about the town. The other thing is, this is in World War II time. There was a man that lived there, and all I know, his name is Uncle George. That's it. Don't know the rest of it. So Uncle George had 4 brothers. And all 5 of those boys got drafted, and they all got sent to Europe, to World War II. The miracle was all 5 came back. And you don't hardly ever hear of that everybody came back. So Uncle George was so thankful and so grateful that his family were back together again. And so he bought a flag for the cemetery, and he donated it 100% to the Cemetery Association. But he said, I just have 2 requests, if you wouldn't mind. And the one request was, he said, I will take care of the flag for you, if you don't mind. And they said, no, that's fine, you take care of it. And so Uncle George always, you know how they fold a flag? It's kind of like in triangles, like this. They would always fold the flag up like that. And he bought a box, kind of like a wedding dress box, so he could keep the flag in there, keep it clean and wouldn't mildew or anything. So he always kept it in that box. And he said, but I'm giving you the flag, but I'll take care of it. And they all said, that's fine, that's great. They don't have to worry about it. The other thing that he asked them is if they would only fly the flag 2 days out of the whole month, or out of the year. The first day would be on Memorial Day, just like always. The second day, he said he would like to fly the flag on Veterans Day, November 11th. And so again, the cemetery said, that's fine, that's perfect, no problem. And so that's what they have done all these years. For 29 years, they have flown the flag 2 days out of the year. So, that tells you a little bit about the flag and the cemetery. And as I said, the people there are very, very patriotic. And so what they do collectively, for about the 2 weeks before Memorial Day, people just show up. There's no schedule or anything. When they have time, they come to the cemetery. And they bring their little teeny kids. They start when they're toddlers, and now it's second and third generations that they come to the cemetery, and they cut all the grass, and they edge everything, and they put the gold stars out, and they mulch, and they trim the big trees. They do everything. So it's perfect. But the lady said to me, this year it was a little teeny bit different because about every 2 or 3 days they had a big rainstorm there. And they got 2 or 3 inches every time. And so the people, it was okay. They just had to work around the rainstorms. But the good part of that was that that cemetery was so lush and green after all that rain. She said it looked like a golf course. So that was not a bad thing. And so that was what they did. Now, one other thing was unusual this year at the cemetery, and that was that President Trump had sent probably an email or something to cemeteries all over the country, and he asked them if they would do 2 things. First of all, he wanted to know if they would consider flying the flag for 2 days instead of 1. The first day would be for Memorial Day, just like always. The second day would be in honor and respect to all the people that had died last year from COVID, and all the people that were the caregivers, the doctors, the nurses, all those people. And so all across the country, the cemetery said that would be fine. They would be glad to do that. And Garrison said, yes, we'll do it. Nice guy.
Oop, wrong way. I love his work when he did on the Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe all 3. I have 3 batteries for that Canon camera, and all 3 of them are dead. Well, one just ran dead, but I'm planning on getting another camera pretty soon too. So
Yeah. Yep. So that is quite the story, I think.
can you